is Gander Radio, time 00200. Capital, Montreal International Airport. Montreal International Airport, valid from the 29th at 00000 until the 29th at 24000. Wind 130 degrees, 5 knots. Visibility more than 6 miles.
Hello, Nick here. Just picked up another radio. This one just came in today from Germany, and it's pretty cool. It's a Rohde Schwarz EK 070. It was made, I think they made them probably from around 1980 up until, I don't know when they stopped, end of the 80s, something like that. So it was made in the 80s, but I'm sure they were used for a long, long time. And this one, it has seen some pretty good use. You can actually see some of the paint, or I don't know what you'd call it, is worn off of some of the keys. And over here, when I got this, these three were actually just blank keys. So I just took a black marker and put the minus and the 0 and the plus on those. And if I maybe get motivated, I could find some sort of stick-on numbers to put on in their place. But anyway, I mean, if that's the worst thing that's wrong with this thing, I'm a happy camper. And I'm telling you right now, I'm a happy camper. I've been playing with it all day. So this thing is awesome. It's really cool. Let's go through some of the controls, and then we can cruise around and do some weak signal work or compare it to some other radios and stuff like that. So power button, green light comes on when it's on. It's got an internal speaker.
Fuel cloud at 200. 000 MECAR operation. Gander. Wind 280 degrees.
It's got an internal speaker, and you can use both of them at the same time, or one or the other. And I got my external speaker plugged into the headphone jack. This is a brightness to turn the LEDs brighter or dimmer. This lock button, at first I thought it was broken, okay, because it doesn't do what you think it does. I actually got a copy of the manual with it. And what that button does is it makes the display work independently of the receiver. And they tried to explain situations where you might want to use that, like if you wanted to, so like if you hit the lock button, you could listen, what you're listening to won't change, but every button you hit or turn or dials you twist, they will all change, but it won't affect what you're listening to. So if there's a purpose for that, or some, who knows, maybe somebody could find a use for that. I don't know if I can, but anyway, but that's what that does. And it kind of freaked me out at first. So like, what the heck's going? I push it and I'm turning the disc, the dial, and the numbers are changing, but it's not tuning. And I'm like, oh my God, it's broken. But nope, I read the manual. It's not. Always read the manual. Volume control, keypad. These some functions. So the data and the ADR, I'm not even going to deal with that crap. I don't mess with data and stuff. Bandwidth, if you want to change your bandwidth, and notice that all the markings are in both English and German. Okay, so if you want to change your bandwidth, and it reads your bandwidth over here. So let's get out of sideband, because sideband only has one filter option, 2.3. That's it for sideband. AM, let's cruise down to WWV. And so it displays your bandwidth. And it also writes the bandwidth on the keys. So you might be able to see that. So you hit the bandwidth button, and then you've got all these options: 12, 6, 3, 1.5, 600, 300, and 150 hertz. Then these are the two for sidebands. Minus is lower, plus is upper. So to change the bandwidth, let's come back out of the smidge so you can see the display. So see, we're on 6 kilohertz. So you hit bandwidth and you hit the button. Now we're at 12. Bandwidth 3. Now we're at 3. I think you can also, oops, I just screwed something up. So I think you can also, if you hit bandwidth, you can do that or something. There, yeah. So if you can use the up and down buttons when you're in there. And you might have just noticed when I hit the clear button that the light goes out over here. So at first I thought clear was just to clear a mistaken entry. And again, I thought my shit was broken over here, but it's not. I read the manual. It's working perfect. So here's your tuning steps: 10 hertz, 100 hertz, 1 kilohertz. And this knob, this thing is awesome. You could flip that thing and go from one end to the other. Anyway, if no lights are lit, nothing's going to change. And then you can pick what you want. So that's 1 kilohertz. Okay. But if you want to turn this off, the way you do that is by hitting clear button. And then that basically is the tuning lock, okay, which I thought was supposed to be this button, but it's not. So you hit clear and it deactivates your steps, which deactivates your tuner. All right, and then if you want to tune, you just pick which step you want to use, and then you can tune at that rate. So that's so bandwidth, BFO. So if you're in sideband or CW, you can hit this and you can program a BFO offset or a BFO, and you could manually do it in, or you could hit it and you could use the up and down button to make it incrementally go up or down. Recall and store are for memories. Recall, well, let's show you. Recall 01, boom. And then you can go up through the memories. I think there's 30 memories. 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I got 6 of them programmed in. There's a long wave beacon. Then these are memories that came on it from the guy in Germany. So I have no idea what that stuff is. But anyway, so to get out of this, I think you just hit recall again, and then when that goes away, then you can go back to normal operation. Recall store. Store is how you store. So wherever you are, if you want to store memory, you hit store. Then you always got to hit the 2-digit number. So if it's under 10, you got to hit a 0 first, and then up to 30. So store anywhere up to 30, and then when you want to recall them, you can recall 1, and then if you just want to touch them to go up and down, in case you can't remember which number your station was on that you want to listen to. Enter and clear. All right, so here's a local and remote option. So mine's set for local because I don't have a remote, I don't have anything else. But if the manual says you can hook multiple receivers and a whole bunch of other equipment up to this thing and operate it remotely. So you'd flip that switch over there. RF gain right here is inactive unless MGC is on, manual gain control, and you can see the black line going to that to let you know. All right, so and then AGC, obviously automatic gain control. If the fast button is out, that means you're on slow, and then that's AGC fast, AGC slow, and then manual gain. So you can do manual gain while you're still in AGC, or you can go full boat manual only. And so you got a lot of options with that. These are your modes. All these Fs are, it says TTY, teletype, I think, maybe. A3J is sideband, minus for lower, plus for upper. And then these two, A1 and A3. A1 is code, CW, Morse code. A3 is AM. And then the lights for the one you want to listen to. So to tune, you hit, what do I want to listen to? Let's try something. 9940. Then you gotta fill it all the way out. So you hit the last 2 zeros and it goes there. So we're in A3 is AM, bandwidth is 6.
Drones to Russia, but Moscow and Tehran deny it. It comes as U.S. Secretary of State Russia's aggressive use of drones appalling.
This address thing is something to do with like the location of what's operating your receiver. That was lit when I got it, and I ain't gonna touch it or monkey with it. I have no idea. I'd probably burn this thing to the ground if I try to mess with that. Bandwidth, we already found that out. Level is a digital level of this is the digital display of what this is reading. So, and then you got to remember that this is infinite basically, so it can show you 61, 62. This one rounds it up, so if it's at 61, it's going to show anything above 60 at 65. So those basically read the same thing. This is just a digital printout. And then this threshold, I tried to understand what that was, and I don't know. Maybe I just don't care enough, but it says some stuff about what it does and what it is, and I'm like, oh, okay. Kind of like listening to your teachers in high school, but if it doesn't directly affect you, you really don't care, right? Yeah, not a good attitude, but what the heck. Anyway, so we've been through all these. Attenuator, a 20 dB attenuator. See the meter signal drop 20. Test, if you hit the test, it runs through like some kind of test and tells you whether it's broken or working. This button stops your TTY if it's doing TTY. And then I already told you about your steps. So, pretty straightforward. Alright, so let's... Well, you've already heard it on a couple of stations. It sounds pretty good. So let's compare it to some other radios and see how it does. I've already been messing with it, and it's as sensitive as anything I got in here. It would be cool if it had a preamp to get some really weak signals. It would be cool if it had a sync, because a good sync, because like the sync on my 8711 and the Ten-Tec 340 works perfect and really, really well. And it helps when you're doing shortwave listening and stuff like that. So it would help if it had a sync or a preamp or something like that. DNR didn't really exist. Digital noise reduction didn't exist back when these things were made in the 80s and stuff like that, 90s. So they won't have it. But it's got a good filter selection. I've listened to Sideband. Spot on, works great. Oh, there's a tuning. This is a tuning indicator, graph, whatever. So as you tune off, it goes off. Tune back and it comes on. Now this station shows 1 bar off. That's not my radio off, that's the station off. So like if I go to WWV, see that? We're on. So WWV is always on. And then all these other stations, you think they're on, but they're not perfect. They're real close. Some of them are not real close. But anyway. It's not as sensitive. All right, so let's come over to my spectrum scope here. Let's see if we can find a weak signal to go chase down. Probably gonna have to look in the 49 meters maybe. Alright, so usually, ooh, there's a weak one. I can barely hear something. Same there, can barely hear something. Because you can see a little, oops, I just made my waterfall go away. Damn it. There we go.
They're not going to give anything.
All right, 6075 is pretty darn weak. Let's see if I can get that over here. So we go 6075. I forgot the 0. Oh, no, it read it. Okay. I'm hearing it as good or better than that Yaesu. So I think that's a good indication that the radio is sensitive. What would be nice is if I could find like two signals that were only 5 kilohertz apart and one was stronger than the other so that we could test selectivity. But I can never find two that are, you know, I keep tuning, like these are 10 apart here. Oh, they're not, they're 5, okay. 180. Alright. 185 is music, 180 is a weak voice. So that's 6, 185. Don't tell me it's off air. Oh, there it goes. Okay. And then 180. See, the tuning indicator is fighting, trying to go to that strong signal because the 185 is way stronger than the 180. Let's try to drop the bandwidth. Or we can go to manual gain control. Back over here and confirm what we were listening to. Obviously, this is the stronger one. Seems to be about the same. Let's check out the Watkins Johnson. All right, so this was 6. This is the radio right here. This is like the best radio that was ever made. I should probably just throw everything else I own in the garbage and get a couple of these and be done. Come back over here. So that's not as intelligible as the Watkins Johnson. Now, they are on different kinds of speakers. That Watkins Johnson is a Bose speaker, which sounds better than this China Pow or whatever the hell you want to call that one. But this is getting it, and it's separating it out fine. So I'm happy with the selectivity. I mean, the Watkins Johnson has infinite selectivity. I mean, you saw you could click anything you want. This one, you get a 12, a 6, or a 3, and that's it. Or smaller if you want to go smaller. But no, I'm happy with that.
Coordinated universal time.
Sort of takes the Bible and shows comparisons and so forth. I would
Well, there's some stuff at 5800, 5850.
The Slovak political representation had already been decided to join the Czechoslovak project for
Let's
5
see what
months
time this
since
is.
May.
It's
By
like
adopting this
7:42
document,
p.m.
it
Let's
also
try some
publicly
sideband.
proclaimed it. Budapešťanská vláda vyhlása informačné embargo a napriek
This is 7Q, November Alpha 8 Victoria. November Alpha 8 Victoria. 594.
Notice the tuning meter doesn't work in sideband. It only works in CW or AM.
Quebec Papa November. Roger 598.
Then it's prompting me, now that I'm in sideband, it's prompting me for the BFO if I want to. I could hit the BFO and type in what I want.
Whiskey Alpha 3 Charlie.
And we're at a fixed 2.3 kilohertz bandwidth. That's the only bandwidth you can have for sideband on this radio. Again, it's not a ham radio, so you know it's not set up for that. This is like a monitoring radio, all right? Check the bandwidth.
until the 29th at 2400.
So let's try AM. Let's try, that's on 3 kilohertz, so let's bump it up to 6. Oh, see that? When you were messing with the memories, it killed this. So I gotta pick one. There's usually something at 4840.
To stop the gold standard because the rest of the world was taking those dollars and going to the gold window and saying, give us our gold. Matter of fact, Charles de Gaulle, at one point, sent French warships into the harbor, New York Harbor, just to pick up his gold, right, for his country.
I think that's RMI or something like that. Apparently it's not on yet. There's usually like a 5040 and a 5025 if they're on, and a 5010.
But
I probably should have mentioned that the weather is terrible here in Dallas. It's been raining all day. There's an occasional thunder, but I don't hear any thunder now, but it's been raining all day. So getting the occasional lightning flash through the radios. I don't see lightning outside or anything like that, but I'm sure that's not good for the best reception. But anyway, this radio is running great and it works great. And now that I've read the I read the manual to make sure that everything's working the way it's supposed to work, because some of the things are counterintuitive, at least to me, and it assured me that everything's all good. So I got I've got it on the table next to the Sony there, and next to the Scanty and the WJ and the Ten-Tech and the Yaesu, a couple Harris's, a Raycal, another WJ, Yaesu, Rockwell Collins, and an Icom 9000. So you all have seen videos on most, if not all, of this stuff. But if you see something you want to go a little bit more in depth on, give a shout, because I love doing this. This is my hobby. I love doing this and messing with these radios. So anyway, thanks for hanging out.